we are using it 100% because their customer are saying that we want 100% recycled material from private household, and it is possible today. But it requires a lot of skilled people and a lot of technology, but you can do it. That's the most important.
Welcome to the Urbanista, where we discuss the water management challenges of Nordic cities. From safe drinking water distribution and stormwater collection to building sustainable urban living environments. Here is your host, Delphine Vassallo.
Hey, welcome to the Urbanista, the podcast where we discuss things about water management in cities. I'm your host, Delphine Vassallo, and we are still in the last day of the World Water Congress in Copenhagen, Denmark. There have been many discussions around here about water management, stormwater, how to improve the operations of wastewater, sustainability, and particular sustainability has been one of the hot topics in all the discussions around here. And one key element of this is how are we recycling the things? How are we recycling the different materials to give new life to the older products? And for that, I have a very special guest here with me that we are going to discuss precisely that, recycling and circular economy. Yeah, it's kind of a buzzword. Everybody's talking about that, but what does that exactly mean? So, who are you and what do you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes I ask myself also, but my name is Franz Cuculiza, and I'm working with recycling of plastic. I'm business director in a company, Aage Vestergaard Larsen, and we have been working with recycling of plastic for 50 years. Long time before you knew about circular economy.
Yeah, 50 years. So, 50. So way before this circular economy concept was even invented, way before that even sustainability was a thing or was on everybody's mind. Yeah. So I guess not. Surely you and your team have accumulated a wealth of experience or expertise in the recycling. So can you talk a bit more? So what the company is focusing at the moment, or what has focused before, and now what type of recycling you are doing?
Yeah, for 50 years ago. In fact, the founder of the company, his name was Aage Vestergaard Larsen, as the company is today. He found it worthless to burn plastic, and he started to think about how can I recycle plastic. And he traveled around down to Germany and found some equipment and who was designed to recycle plastic. And he bought a machine, brought it to Denmark, and when he started to recycle plastic, nobody knew about recycling in Denmark at that time. But he tried, and it was a hard job for him to come around to plastic converters and say that I have some recycled plastic. It really had to be cheap, so it was hard to do business, but he did it. And I think the first 40 years, it was really hard. The last 10 years has been more fun. The focus from the global, what can you call it, from companies.
The global attention, is now focusing.
Yeah, the global attention, right, is much more focusing at sustainability and circular economy. So the last 10 years, there has happened 10 times more than the 40 years before.
40. Yeah, well, that's actually a very nice example on like forward thinking, like vision of future. Like when you said before, it was just let's burn the plastic and that's it. And it was like just 1 month's idea. Hey, no, this doesn't seem to be right. Maybe, I don't know, there was too much research, but hey, let's do something about it. Let's change the way. And maybe that's now that the whole sustainability topic is getting like really good traction, and there's many other things around. Well, there you go. That's the normal evolution of our human thinking, starting from an area that is like, but look, you have gone very far from that initial rejection on the thing. So can you elaborate a bit more? So what type of plastics are you recycling, from where, and how are you transforming it into, well, giving new life? What type of products are those recycled materials used?
Yeah, of course. I would say it is. We are doing it three different types of plastic. When we are talking about plastic waste, we are getting 5,000 tons from the industry, the plastic industry, and it is quite clean because it is more or less waste from the production. It is easy to recycle. We grind it, and after that we pelletizing in extruders. And when you have pellets, it is our product. We only have pellets, and they are easy to use for the plastic converters. So that's the first part, and it was how it started for 50 years ago. The second part, that's plastic waste from the private household. When you and me, we put our plastic waste into a bin, we have started in Denmark to sort it, and it means that it is coming to us when it is sorted. It is really dirty and it smells. So there's a lot of work to, what can I say, grind it and wash it and then pelletizing it. But you also have to take the smell away. It really requires really skilled people. They need to have experience from this, how to handle plastic. And a lot of this equipment we have developed ourselves, because you can't find it around, these washing machines and so on.
So it's of course, your own expertise, but also you have some proprietary technology that you have developed, or?
Yeah, we have. We have searched patent for this different technologies, but we have decided to stop it because it is not the technology who is important. It is in fact the people. We have people who has been in the company, a lot of people who has been there for more than 40 years, and they really know a lot. So that's important when you're focusing at high quality. It is that you have the right skilled people, and it means that they have to be with you for many years.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's the essence of a company. Of course, the human factor. So you mentioned there were three types. The ones that they're the scrap from other plastic companies, that is like the cleanest one. The second is the one that is collected from households that needs an extra cleaning, the coloring, I guess, chemical process to get it right. And the third?
And the third, it is that we are taking the waste from different industries, taking their own waste and taking care of their own waste. So they are getting exactly their own waste back, but as pellets. It requires that you can handle different companies really in your system. So you have to be 100% sure that they are getting exactly the same back as they came with. And it is because now they know the raw material very well, because it is their own material. When it is easy for them to use it in their production again. But it is also a very important business for us to handle that. That's 1/3 of the business.
Okay. Yeah. Because one of the common beliefs that I have been listening quite often, and like I said, this is one of these maybe half truths that just go around, is for many people, sustainability equals recycled materials, which equals second-class quality. It's very simplistic, yes, very simplistic reasoning, but what can you tell us about the quality of that recycled material?
I think it depends very much of what focus you have. I can only talk for ourselves. Our focus, it is the highest possible quality, meaning if we are taking plastic waste from the private household, we have to make it in such a quality that the plastic converter can produce products which come back to the private household, and in a quality so they can put it in the bin and it can come back to us again, and meaning that you have created this circular loop. And that's, for me, circular economy. But it really requires that you are losing a lot of effort, money in your production, in your quality department. But also that you are working together in the whole value chain, because you can't do this alone. We have seen that if we are working together with the customer, with the
plastic converter with the company who is working with sorting the plastic waste, it is when we can succeed. Otherwise, you can't do anything alone. You have to work in this value chain, because when you push yourself and you push the other, and in the end you'll have a much better result, meaning that you are doing sustainability and real circular economy.
So collaboration,
Yes.
collaboration with all the rest, I mean, of players in the industry. Okay, the technology that you use and the expertise that you have, of course, is crucial for that. But as you say, without the collaboration of the other, players, we
Yeah.
cannot do this, or it's just not one company's mission to do this. So that's what we have been also listening here. Hey, it's not just one sector, not just the manufacturers, or in your case, the companies that recycle, or the water utilities. It's a joint effort
Yeah.
that we should work together. Easier said than done, certainly. So those collaborations, or have you been approaching them, or how you started this process of knocking the door? Hey, let's do this together. Let's make it happen together.
It was, in fact, a strategy we made for 10 years ago. We made the strategy that we should be the most open recycling company in North Europe, meaning that even our competitors could come and visit us, because we
Okay.
had the focus that the most important we have in our factory, it is our people, our organization, and how we work together. It was, of course, it was hard to do it, because you are at the thin ice, you can say. But we opened up the factory, and I think the first 2 years we had between 1,500 and 2,000 visitors, customers, suppliers, competitors. But we get this start for this value chain, this working together in value chain, and it is what have brought us to where we are today, working together with big companies and very open. Also, when we talk about, okay, how will this end, we can say, okay, our focus is that the solution will not be more expensive than the virgin material, and nothing more about price. Then it is only focusing on how do we solve this problem, how do we do together, and after 1, 2, 3 years, you have a result. And in the same way, you have your customer, and your customer has a supplier. So that's another way to work in, but it works.
I mean, the proof is there. Of course, you have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Openness and transparency. Well, okay, maybe it took a bit of effort, or a lot of effort at the beginning, but well, the results are there. You touch kind of sometimes a sensible topic: the price, the cost of using a recycled. Okay, we ensure, okay, quality wise, we can be sure that there's, or at least you are ensuring the quality of that recycled material. What comes to cost of that final product that uses recycled material, is that true that it should be more expensive than the regular product, or?
Well, it depends on, that's right. It is never a very open discussion when we start to talk about price, but I think we can be that today, because for us, we have a clear strategy about when we invest in technology. We don't invest in technology who is doing it more expensive to make a recycled material than using virgin. You have to compete with virgin material. If we're not able to that, we don't invest money in it. It is the topic from the beginning. And
Okay.
otherwise, you can have a risky business, I would say. But if you the whole time have the focus, but we cannot allow to be more expensive than the virgin material. And it is clear from the beginning also with our customers. It is what we promise, it is what we work for. And when we do it together somehow. But
Yeah,
it-
well, work together. Talk a bit more about the type of, if we become a bit more technical perhaps, the type of plastics that you are handling. So it is PE, PP, or what are those sources? And actually, because one thing that, well, we have been started to work is on the plastic coming from biodiesel, meaning from renewable materials, not straight, I mean, virgin material coming from oil, but from this renewable material. In the end, is well, plastic. It's PE, anyways, it's plastic. But does that make any difference to you if it's a plastic coming from a renewable source and then it gets recycled and recycled plus many, well, times?
Yeah, that's in fact a very good question, and it's pop up now and when, and it is hard to answer. But let's take an example. We have been working together with a very big company in Denmark, and for 25 years, they have some boxes who is coming around in Denmark, in fact, and a lot of them are the whole time damaged somehow and coming back and being recycled again and again, meaning that 25% of their boxes are being recycled every year. We are just recycling them, making pellets, and they are coming back to them. They are putting 25% recycled material in their virgin material, and they don't see any different in the material.
Okay.
But it requires, when you have this waste, that you also are able to, before the production, during the production, and after the production, to take out samples and to make tests so you are sure that they have the right quality. If it don't have that, you can have plastic who has been so long time out used somewhere that it has started to decrease the what can you call it, the
Degrade the quality?
yeah,
or so-
degrade,
okay,
exactly, thank you. Degrade the quality. But when you can put something in it, you can add something to the plastic, antioxidants and so on. So you boost it, so it comes back, or you can mix it with some very new plastic waste.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking when you mentioned is the 25% for this specific example of your customer that you mentioned. It's 25% that goes back again to them to continue. Would at any given point that 25% may become 50%, 100%, like really fully circular?
Yeah, I think if we are looking at the EU rules and guidelines, they will start to say 30% recycled material as a minimum when you are making a new product. But if we are looking at what the companies want, they want 100% recycled material. When we are talking about what we are getting from the private household and this waste and make it to new pellets, the plastic converters, there are two who's using it today, they are using it 100% because their customers are saying that we want 100% recycled material from private household, and it is possible today. But it requires a lot of skilled people and a lot of
yes.
technology, but you can do it. That's the most important.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be kind of the ideal to keep this whole cycle, never said this whole
exactly.
cycle at 100%. But just because you mentioned at some point that, yeah, if the quality starts to degrade because of, well, whatever is the process, you need to still add a bit of virgin material.
Yeah.
So to still
But not the virgin material. We can add something, what can you call it, new plastic waste. You can have old plastic waste and new plastic waste. And we sort it in the factories. We know exactly what is old plastic waste, what is new plastic waste. And when we can mix that together, we don't use at all virgin material in our factory. We are 100% focused at recycled material.
Okay, that it's really interesting because of course has many details that is not recycle it and put everything back. So it's, of course, it requires all this expertise that precisely you have been developing along many years. So is there anything, where do you see this going in 5-10 years, or really that many companies become this 100% achieving this 100% recycling, or where do you see that, or where would you like that we all were?
I think we all would like that we could say that 100% of our waste is recycled. And in that way, you can create this 100% circular loop and economy, but it is not possible. You will always lose something. So I think the target must be to get so much back to recyclers as possible. You will never get 100% back, but we will be better year for year. That's no doubt about that.
What do we need to do to keep that increasing? Is it about, okay, the will, of course, all the stakeholders in the industry, the regulation that starts to push a bit every time, every year, higher and higher?
Yeah, as we speak now, there are guidelines. They are making guidelines from the EU about in 2025, all plastic packaging has to be recycled, minimum 50% of it. It is the first target. When they have said that everything, no, 80% of what is burned today for incineration and so on, it can be taken out for recycling. So they have started to decide something. They have made a plastic tax in Europe, in fact. Denmark is paying this year more than 100 million euros because they are saying you are using too much virgin material. They are looking at, okay, how much virgin material? Some other countries in Europe are paying much more, but they have started this. Also, the European tax, that's a little interesting, in fact, for plastic.
Yeah, there's this whole initiative from the European Union that
Yeah.
we are familiar, the Fit for 55, which is achieving 55% of carbon reduction at country level by 2030. Some countries may be way ahead, some others lagging behind. But that's actually that. Have you calculated or have you done something to evaluate the impact in carbon footprint? Is it something that you have been looking at, or?
Yeah, we have had an external company because we can't do it ourselves. It really requires skilled people, engineers, and so on. They have measured our how much energy are we using in the factoring, where are we getting the plastic waste from, and if you had used virgin material to produce product with, what kind of carbon footprint would you have? And if you compare virgin material with recycled material, they are saying that you have saved the global environment for 2.4 kilo CO2
CO2.
for each kilo recycled material you use instead of using virgin material. So there is also a huge carbon footprint to save for the global environment, and that's of course also important.
Well, I believe those are the important things to communicate, and it's just, well, facts. This
Yeah.
is tested, is data, hard data that is there, and you are collaborating with that.
But I think we have to change behavior. You and me have to change behavior. The companies have to change behavior. You have to look at your waste as a resource. Waste is expensive, costly to handle. Resource is giving you income, you can say. So I think there's a lot to learn there. There's a lot, but we have to change our behavior. We have to look at it and remember that today we are using too many of the resources. The 28th of July this year, we had used our planet's resources for the whole year.
Yes.
Earth Overshoot Day, I think that's the name, but it was the 28th of July. When we started the company in 1972, it was in the middle of December. So it is showing what we are doing, that in 2050 we will need 3 planets if we continue to do that. And we can't do that.
We have no planet.
We have a next generation to think about, our kids. So of course we have to change behavior. That's important, I think. And it is important that we don't think about how we are doing and want to change that, because if we are looking at what we did yesterday and want to change the future by that, we have not learned anything. It is about innovation and progress, working in value chains and focusing at it. That's what is necessary, after my opinion.
openness, transparency, working together, this collaboration, and I guess the most important thing, yes, within 100 years, well, not you or me will be here, but yeah, our children, and that's the point, that we are working now for those grandchildren that
Yeah,
will, of course, we will
exactly.
leave something. So, Franz, thank you so much. This has been super, super insightful, and we will continue with all these conversations. And yeah, keep tuning with the Urbanista. Topics like this are the ones that we are super interested in addressing, and of course, getting the insights from the people who have been, well, 50 years doing it already. Thank you so much, Franz.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for listening to the Urbanista podcast, a production of Upono Infra, the leader in sustainable infrastructure solutions. If you found it interesting, why don't you share it with your colleagues? We all together can move our industry forward.